And thank you for being with us. We are joined today by Dr. Michael Olin, the Associate Professor at the University of Minnesota Masonic Cancer Center's Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Olin, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here today.
So today we're talking about population immunity, otherwise known as herd immunity. Dr. Olin, let's start with what it is and how it works.
Well, when most of the population is immune to an infectious disease, whether it's viral or bacterial, this provides an indirect protection, or what they term as population immunity, which is also called herd immunity or herd protection to those who are not immune to the disease. Thus, for contagious, very exceptionally contagious organisms like the measles, you need around 95 to 97% coverage. However, for less contagious agents, such as polio, you only need around 75% immunization coverage. And this is almost always, or at least usually, achieved through vaccinations. And the result of this is that the infection is incapable or does not spread to the community, or again, the herd, and there's no epidemic or widespread disease.
So a Georgetown University biologist said that herd immunity only is relevant if we have a vaccine that blocks the transmission. To be clear here, these COVID vaccines help us from getting sick, but do they block transmission?
Well, I believe they do block transmission, or at least reduce the viral load, which is important because if the host has a real low viral load, then it's not going to spew out the virus to transmit to other individuals. But we should be able to, with these vaccines, vaccinate enough to reach a protective or herd immunity status.
At what level would that be? There's a Northeastern University professor out of Boston who said that a vaccine's ability to block transmission does not have to be 100%, that even 70% would be amazing. What do you say?
I agree with them. It doesn't have to be 100%. As I was just talking about, the measles, it's extremely contagious, that 95% would cover or achieve herd immunity. As for the COVID-19, it's a new pathogen. I'm 70, probably 80% is going to be needed.
Well, I know we're still learning about these vaccines, but between Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J, is one better than the other at blocking transmission?
For blocking transmission, well, it's strongly believed that after someone has been immunized with any of these available vaccines, that they're much less likely to be infected or able to pass the virus along to others.
Let's talk a minute about at-risk populations, who they are, and if herd immunity can protect them.
So that's very important, and that's probably one of the more important parts of herd immunity. There's a number of individuals that are at risk. There's immunocompromised people out there. There's people with cancer, medical conditions, people on immunosuppressants due to transplantation, kidneys, liver, whatever transplantations, smokers, and even obese people are at risk. And these people now are somewhat protected because if herd immunity is achieved, the virus is incapable of transmitting from one to another.
Well, as of this recording anyway, the J&J vaccine has been temporarily put on hold. There are certainly people who are too afraid or who just won't get the vaccine. So do you think we'll get to herd immunity, and is that the ultimate goal here?
I really hope so. I think there's a lot of circumstances that may hinder that, or at least slow it up. But I have to admit that out of the midst of this horrible pandemic, one good thing that has come out over the past year of COVID-19 is now with this new vaccination that came out rapidly and showing such a low percentage of adverse effects, virtually none, that these people may be convinced or see the data necessary to put them over that fence and say, yeah, we need to take this. This is a safe vaccine. And if we don't reach herd immunity, we're never going to return back to the way it used to be or normal.
So to kind of bring this full circle here, there was a recent article in Nature magazine that listed 5 reasons why herd immunity may be impossible, such as whether the vaccine can actually prevent transmission, as we've been talking about. So is herd immunity the answer, and what should viewers take away from this conversation?
I think what viewers should really take away is that these vaccines are necessary to reach herd immunity. They're safe. They're very efficacious. In other words, they work real well. And that I firmly believe that we are going to be able to reach that percentage, whatever it is, probably around 80% of the total population, so we can reach herd immunity.
Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Dr. Olin, thanks so much for joining us to help us understand herd immunity.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us for this edition of VaxTalks. For more information, go to whywevax.org.